What's up, triathletes? Taren here. If you've been watching the channel or really reading any sort of triathlon resource out there online,
has to be online because who actually does things in the real world without their phone?
You've almost definitely heard of triathlon training zones. Today I'm going to explain the 7 cycling power zones that you can use as it relates to your FTP and how you can incorporate it in your training. Stick around for it. Now, for starters, if you don't know what FTP is, that is functional threshold power, and you need to go watch the video that I did up here where I explain how to get your functional threshold power, because that's where these power training zones start.
They all come out of the FTP.
So go and get your FTP. In my case, I thankfully have had the generous support of PowerTap, which has given me the PowerTap P1 power pedals, which I use for all of my power training. Love you guys. You're solid. So if you've got your FTP, there are 7 triathlon training zones that you can use as it relates to that functional threshold power to guide all of your triathlon training to make sure that you're going hard on hard days and easy on easy days. It gives you very measurable metrics that you can use to set out basically your entire workout, your entire triathlon training season. So power level 1 is like a perceived exertion on a scale of 10 of like 1 and 2. Like you're barely out there. This is a Sunday stroll. This is about as easy as it gets. You're on the bike. It's called active recovery. And where this is in relation to your FTP is it is 55% of your FTP number and lower. You rarely want to be in level 1 because it's so easy that it isn't really doing a whole lot for your cardiovascular system, and it certainly isn't making you stronger. The only time that you tend to be in level 1 power is right at the start of a workout, right at the end of a workout in a cool down, or in between really hard sets when you need to recover. Zone 2 is a perceived exertion level of a 2 or 3 out of 10, and this is your endurance zone. This is a zone that you can pedal at for hours and hours and hours and hours on end. If you're going for basically just an easy ride for a bunch of hours with friends and it's conversational pace and you're not really stressed, you don't feel at any point like it's so hard that it's taking too much out of you, this is zone level 2. Zone level 2 is really, really good for training for half Ironman, full Ironman, century rides, really long endurance races. And where this is in relation to your FTP is it's 55 to 75% of your FTP number. And what this zone does is it improves your cardiovascular system, your endurance, your mitochondrial connections, all those little blood vessels that have to carry oxygen to your muscles, the slow twitch muscle fibers. It makes your engine really efficient is what it does. Zone level 3, this is where we start getting into a little bit more difficulty. It is a perceived exertion level of a 3 or a 4 on a scale of 10. And where it is in relation to your FTP number is it's about 76 to 90% of your functional threshold power. This is a tempo pace. This is a pace that's going to be quite hard for you to sustain for longer than 15 or 20 minutes. That said, this is starting to get into really good strength categories.
Categories? Territory.
But that said, this is a little bit in no man's land. It's not doing a whole lot for your cardiovascular system, not nearly as good a job as zone 2 does, and it's also not tough enough that it's very strong. So where you use this tempo pace is in warm-up periods or in the middle of a set, in between doing really easy work and really hard work. It's kind of a transition. But that said, it's kind of like a gray zone because, like I say, it's not doing a whole lot for your strength or a whole lot for your endurance. So be careful with this tempo pace. Zone level 4 is around 91 to 105%. That's 5% over your FTP numbers. This is around your lactic threshold, and this is a perceived exertion of anywhere between about 4 or 5 and 7 or 8. Like, this is starting to get really quite tough, and this is very, very good for taxing your strength. It makes you stronger. That said, you can't do zone level 4 for much longer than, say, 3 or 4 minutes. Where you use zone level 4 is often to give bursts of speed and gradually increase the amount of time that you can spend doing that. So this zone level is what makes you stronger, what makes you faster. It's damn hard, so these are the workouts that are really gonna take a lot out of you and you gotta recover from.
I did a zone level 4 today, and I'm not very pleased with my coach. My legs hate him right now.
So you start incorporating zone level 4 in the mid part of the training season, not terribly frequently and not in huge volumes right in the middle of training season because it takes a lot out of you. So as race season comes around, you want to back off and make your zone level 4 intervals a little bit shorter, still around to remind your legs how to go fast, but it's really good in like 3-4 months out of your races. Zone 5, this is around your VO2 max, and this is around 106 to 120% of your functional threshold power. It's well over all the time your functional threshold power. On a perceived exertion level, we're getting right up there to the 7s and 8s. This is very, very tough, and we really only include the zone level 5s for like a minute or 2 minutes occasionally. This is like outright strength. This is kind of like weightlifting for your legs and your cycling muscles. So a good time to incorporate these is early on in the training season when you're building a fair bit of strength and you're not so worried about beating down your muscles because you've got a race coming up that you need to be well recovered for. These intervals make you strong, really strong.
But they suck.
Zone 6, we're talking 121% to 150% of your FTP. Now this is getting to perceived exertion levels of like 8 and 9, like basically as hard as you can possibly go, and we're talking like 30 to 60 seconds max. This is your anaerobic, yes, your anaerobic capacity, and that means that this is the maximum amount of power that your muscles can put out without failure. Think of this as like an 8 to 10 rep bench press max. Like your muscles are gonna fail, your legs are gonna be wobbly, it's gonna be really hard, but you're gonna get a lot stronger and you're gonna feel a fair bit beat up after. Zone level 7, this is where things get quite insane. Zone level 7, this is just off the charts. This is 151% and over your FTP rates. I've actually never hit to zone 7.
Please don't tell my coach that because he will put that into a training plan starting tomorrow if he hears about this.
This is your neuromuscular capacity. This is the maximum amount of power with the maximum speed that your legs can possibly go. You can't hold it for much more than like 5, 6, I don't know, 15 seconds. Like this is if you do group riding and you have a sprint, and right at the end of that sprint, you are absolutely emptying the tank with everything you can and you don't care how fast your pedals are going or how hard your heart is pumping. This is zone level 7. You are doing everything that you can to get out as fast as you can. And you can only do it for a few seconds. There isn't a whole lot of reason to incorporate this in the training because it's so off the charts that it doesn't necessarily translate really well to long endurance events. So there you have it. I hope that that explains what the zone levels are when we talk about training with power. And oh my goodness, I just spent a whole bunch of work in zone 4. If you follow me on Instagram, that's happening a lot these days. You can use this in your training to help guide where you should be because these zones are really good. Go easy on your easy days and easy in your easy sets, and hard on your hard days, hard on the hard sets. If you want a cheat sheet for how to do your FTP test and what these zones mean, I will put a link in the description below to triathlontaren.com where I've built a page that writes all of this out, and you can download a little cheat sheet that you can save on your phone for how to go through this. As always, triathletes, happy and hard training, happy and zone 6 training, and good luck in your next triathlon.